is a really very old Scottish ballad that nowadays is more associated with Ireland. It was resurrected in the late 50s by the Clancy Brothers, who were an important part of the Greenwich Village scene at the height of the American folk revival. They recorded a version that became popular, and there's also a popular live version that you can easily find on YouTube of Liam Clancy singing this solo with Tommy Macken on penny whistle at Carnegie Hall. It's worth saying before I forget that Dylan was familiar with this song and their performance of it, and if you listen to his track A Restless Farewell on the Times They Are A-Changin, you can very clearly hear how much that song is based on the melody of The Parting Glass and also to some extent the lyrics. Lots of versions over the years. Of course, the Pogues have done it, Hosier has done a lovely version, and there's a great version by Sinéad O'Connor that's quite similar to this version, but different enough for us to spend a moment maybe later on just looking at what those differences are so you can create an authentic performance of that. But my version is very much based on the Liam Clancy version. Down to the key, we're in nominally A minor, but with a capo on the 3rd fret, we're actually in C minor. So let's carve out the chords first of all, and then we'll take a look at this picking that I've got, which is not perhaps authentic to the original, but I've got myself a little Travis picking pattern. Various versions of this. You'll hear the Hosier version, Ronan Keating's version, and lots of others. Well, these people have lovely voices. They are able to draw the melody out to create that maximum expression and almost to the point where the melody falls apart, but not quite. So there's more of a kind of contemplative feel to the song. I want something with a slightly more solid beat, so I'm going to put this Travis picking underneath. Anyway, let's look at the chords first, then we'll take a look at the picking, then we'll look at the Sinead version, and then perhaps we'll have a playthrough of the whole thing. Now, the verse is a straight 16 bars that just repeats round, although depending on the version you're playing, you'll often hear people kind of treading water a bit or just waiting at the end of each 2-bar phrase to create a bit of kind of dramatic impact. But I'm just going to play straight 4-beat bars, and we kick off with 4 beats of A minor. Oh, all the money. Then we get 2 beats of C and then G for 2 beats. That ere I spent. And I'm putting my finger here, instead of the top string, I'm putting it on the 2nd string. That's the melody note, that D, 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And when it comes to picking, I'm probably going to base my fingers on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings. So that just suits me better. Anyway, oh, all the money that ere I spent. Now we get a bar of C. I spent it in good. But on the 2nd beat, we just go quickly to an F chord. And I'm going to keep my fingers basically where they are. The 1st and 3rd fingers are going to stay where they are for the C chord. I'm going to move my 2nd finger up to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and my little finger's going to tuck in on the 3rd fret of the 4th string. So that's just the middle 4 strings of basically a barred F chord. So that'll do. I spent it in, and then back to the C. Good. 2 more beats of C and 2 of G. Company. So that rounds off those 4 bars. The next 4 bars is exactly the same, but we end on an A minor. And all the harm that e'er I done, alas, it was to none but me. Okay, that's the first half done. The second half kicks off with our same C, F, C for a couple of bars. And all I've done, and again, for want of wit. Now we get 2 beats of F and 2 of G. You could play a full F chord there. I'm just going to stick to my little middle 4 strings F. To memory G now. I can't recall. So 2 of C and 2 of G. And we finish off, the final 4 bars are exactly the same as bars 5, 6, 7 and 8. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Okay, so let's put all those chords together, but while we're at it, let's look at a basic Travis picking pattern that we can play underneath the whole thing. It works pretty well, and of course, it's based on the thumb playing the bass note, which for an A minor is the 5th string moving up to the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that in eighths or quavers, and that's going to alternate with these fingers. I've got my first finger on the third string, second finger on the second string. I'm going to play the fifth string with the thumb, come up to the second string for the second finger, that's my outside pair if you like, and then the thumb's going to come up to the fourth string, and I'm going to finish off my group of four with the first finger playing the third string. Now we'll look at some variations of this in a moment, but for now, here we go. Oh, all the money that e'er I spend it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I done, blessed was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall, so fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Okay, that's the basic picking, but I'm just going to rattle through a few fairly obvious variations, mostly involving the note on the second string. We're going to displace that rhythmically still on the second string, or perhaps we're going to move it up to the top string. And the first thing that's quite obvious to do is to bring that forward so it coincides with the first thumb note. And I'm doing that on the first and third instance of the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, instead of that, I might delay that second string note until it coincides with the second thumb note. Just about. Okay, once you appreciate that Travis picking is really about providing an accompaniment vehicle for melody, and that the melody is going to take place mainly on the second and first strings, then all this stuff needs to be solid, but of course you can move that second string note as we've just done, displace that rhythmically, but also up to the top string. So here's a version now where we include the top string. And I'm just doing that on the third beat. Not really for any particular reason other than to give you a bit of a workout. That kind of a thing. That works pretty nicely and creates a little bit more melodic interest. I've put this PDF up on Sheet Music Direct and Sheet Music Plus, so you can follow along with the chords, the melody, the lyrics, and then also I've put a separate page with these various picking variations that we're running through at the moment. And the next one I want to look at is back to our displacing the second string note to the first beat, but with a hammer on. So in fact now we're back to 16ths. On the second 16th I'm going to bring my first finger back down onto the first fret of that second string. And I just quite like the colour of that. In fact, I like the colour of that enough that maybe once we've hammered on, we take it back off again, and then we spend the second beat with that second string open, giving us an A minor add 2 or add 9 or whatever you want to call that. Okay, that's just what I've come up with, kind of noodling about with the melody and just trying to add a little bit of colour and interest to these simple chord shapes. Now if we combine a couple of those ideas together, we'll get this. This is exactly the same thing. But now on the third beat I'm going to include the top string note again. So oh, all the money that e'er I spent, that kind of a thing. And when we have a playthrough in a minute, that's what I'm going to go for. But of course, you know, you can take some of these ideas or add your own, do something completely different. You'd be perfectly free to strum this and maybe out of time. I just want something that's a little bit more rigid When I've got the playthrough, I've got a solid bass line and also drums playing quietly in the background just to give me that sense of kind of crispness so I know exactly where I am. Okay, let's look at the Sinead version of this song. Now, the most obvious difference with the Sinead O'Connor version is that she plays it in B minor, so you'd move your capo from the 3rd fret down to the 2nd fret. I'm actually going to keep my capo here because I'm quite comfortable. The next thing to say is that if you think of the verse as 4-bar blocks, the first block, the second block and the 4th block all begin with a bar of A minor, and she moves after 2 beats to F. So it's A minor for 2 beats and F for 2 beats. So it will begin like this. Oh, all the money that e'er I spent. Okay. The next thing to say is that at the end of every 2-bar phrase, certainly the first half, she pauses for an extra 2 beats. So if I give you the beat like this. Oh, all the money that e'er I spent for 1, 2, I spend it in good company for 1, 2, and all the harm that e'er I done 1, 2, alas it was to none but me. And this time there's an extra bar of a whole 4 beats. So I say she pauses, but she counts through an extra 2 beats after each of those 2-bar phrases. And then, as I say, at the end of the 8 bars, or whatever we've now counted, we get a whole extra bar of A minor. In the second section, we begin with that's unchanged for want of wit to memory now I can recall 1, 2. So the third block of 4 ends with an extra 2 beats. And of course, the last 4 beats is the last 4 bars is the same as the second block of 4, so we get the same thing. So fill to me this parting glass. 1, 2. Good night and joy be with you all. And another 4 beats at the end. So I don't know how many bars we're going to end up with and how I'm going to put this on the screen. I suspect I'm going to insert some 2-beat bars and some 4-beat bars. Well, we'll see. But on the subject of timing, she actually plays this with a triplet feel. So you might count this in 6/8 or 12/8. We've got this kind of thing. Oh, all the money that e'er I spent. So my picking pattern here is going to be for on an A minor. I've still got the middle 4 strings, and I'm picking the bass note. The first finger's picking the 4th string, the second finger's picking the 3rd string. That's the first triplet, 1 and a. The second beat, I'm going to come back down. So my 3rd finger's going to pick that 2nd string, second finger's going to pick the 3rd string, and then the 1st finger's going to finish off picking the 4th string. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and that kind of thing. Of course, the thumb's going to move to wherever the bass note is. That kind of a thing. Sometimes when we've got this bar where we have C, F over C back to C, we're going to have to think of something because that doesn't really give us the bass. I think I'm going to do that. So on the second beat, instead of just coming back down the way, I'm going to include the bass note as well. So I'm going to have my thumb and 3rd finger picking at the same time. Whether I keep strictly to that, I don't know, but that's a kind of a workaround, if you like, or just makes the picking pattern workable. So let me see if I can play in 12/8 with the inserted bars of F and the extra beats of 2 beats and 4 beats and all that stuff with this picking pattern all together. Oh, all the money that e'er I spent spend it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I done. 5, 6, as it was to none but me. 1, 2, 3, and all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. 5, so fill to me the parting glass. 5, 6, good night and joy be with you all. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, more or less. That's it. Okay, let's look at some more picking. Now, I'm not going to go into huge detail here, but hopefully you can see with some of the variations on the basic Travis picking pattern that we had in our little picking workout just now, the potential of moving that top note of the pattern to create a melody. And if you think about the melody of this tune, and I'm going to let you work that out for yourself, although on the song sheet it's written out. And then think about placing the chords underneath, choosing the correct string to give you the melody note, and the voicing. This is where this G with the finger on the second string comes in. Then you'll be in good shape to tackle a picking pattern. Here's the challenge. That note on the 5th fret of the top string, that A, with an F underneath. Don't know about that, or maybe like a D shape up here, or maybe the top 4 strings of a C chord barred at the 5th fret. And that note is really the only challenge we've got. Yeah, I'll try that. You can see the picking pattern starting to kind of appear. A couple of things maybe to think about when we move from A minor to C. Maybe climb up with a B, 2nd fret of the 5th string. Another thing to say is that melody note, oh, that's an open top string, but why not slide up to the 2nd string on the 5th fret? Slightly more expressive. There we go. Little hammer-ons and opening up that 2nd string there on the A minor and all sorts of things. I think the only thing I'd really work on now would be finding a way to play the F and get that A at the top. This at least lets me keep some fingers down here for the picking, but you know, I'm not going to sweat it too much. All right, well, that's pretty much all I've got. Good luck if you want to do something like that. It's a really useful skill to have, being able to just play the basic chords and then pick stuff in between. It's one of the great joys in my life. And okay, that's everything I've got. Thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully see you on the next one. I'm going to have a playthrough. I've got 3 verses written out here and I'm going to sing them all. 1, 2, 3. company and all the harm that ere I done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done, want of will to memory now, I can't recall, so filled to me. Parting glass, good night and joy be with you all comrades that ere I had, I'm sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that ere I had would wish me one more day to stay, but since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise, softly call good night and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in this town that sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks, ruby lips, I own she has my heart enthralled and filled to me. The parting glass, good night and joy be with you all. Good night and joy be with you all. And that's it.